Zach, it is time once again for the monthly Patreon questions and answers, the Q&A.
Yay! Yes, if you would like to be part of the monthly Q&A, all you have to do is join our Patreon at Buddy Chicken tier or higher, and you too can ask us whatever questions you may have.
Questions such as this one by Shammy Shamrock. I've always wondered, what does a game day look like for you? Do you play a couple of games a day, or do you focus on one? Do you have a set amount of hours, or just go until you get tired? Do you guys do breaks? Also, my birthday's on St. Patrick's Day. Can you give me a happy birthday? Belatedly, yeah, we can. Happy birthday!
Happy belated birthday.
Typical game day. I mean, I suppose it depends on how much time we got, but usually we sit down and play a single game for 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah, somewhere around that amount of time.
Yeah. We don't bounce around between multiples usually. We just gotta dedicate our time to one at a time. Focus on that.
It doesn't usually go very well if we try to do multiple games in the same day, so it's just kind of stick with one game.
Right, you don't want to burn yourself out too much on it. That's something that could happen.
Also, no, Mike doesn't give me breaks.
Keep him chained to the chair until he does the funnies.
I need to. I've been in contact with
the American Civil Liberties Union.
No, I'm trying to think about the one that controls like whether or not you're getting breaks. That wouldn't be OSHA.
Contacting your union.
No, Mike doesn't give me breaks. Mike, were you inspired by people like Game Grumps or Rooster Teeth when making your videos?
Yes, I was inspired by, especially Rooster Teeth. That blend of military humor and video game humor was very enticing to me. And of course, other YouTubers like Game Grumps. And Soviet Womble was another big one. That's where I got the idea for adding subtitles to enhance the humor. And other Fallout YouTubers like Miniature Nerd and Al Chess Breach, of course.
I don't know if I would consider Rooster Teeth videos to be military humor.
There is some military humor in there, yeah.
I don't know if I would, though, because there's not enough gay jokes and incredibly dark humor that would immediately get us banned from YouTube.
No, there's so much military humor on Red Team between Griff and Sarge and Simmons.
I think they're in the military. I think it classifies as military humor.
There is so much military humor making fun of the quality of rations and the amount of downtime. It definitely feels like someone has some military experience in making those jokes, or at least they're well informed.
I guess I haven't watched enough of them.
It has been quite a few years since you probably watched them.
I honestly think I stopped watching Rooster Teeth at like season 2. Like once they started like animating their own like
machinima
sequences. No, I don't mean like them like nodding up and down in like the tank drive. Once they got like the animation tools from Bungie, I had like stopped watching like before that.
Yeah, if you had stopped in season 2, then yeah, you stopped way before that. Hi, I'm Mike and Zach. After rewatching the Frontier playthrough and getting
Hi, Dr. Nick.
and getting to the hallucination sequence, I wanted to ask, what are your favorite hallucination vision trip sequences from games or mods you've played? Good question, actually.
None of them. I hate those.
Well, hold on. What about with the sorrow at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3? That was a pretty good one. Pretty unique take on it.
Oh, that one's not bad. I don't know. I'm having a hard time thinking of any.
Yeah, you have to go back through your entire video game history and remember times you were tripping out. Wasn't there one where there was a giant... it was in Witcher 3, I think. There was a giant chicken hallucination in Witcher 3.
I never played Witcher 3.
I can think of a lot of bad hallucination trip sequences, but the ones that are positive seem to be few and far between.
Like the one from Point Lookout that's basically just going through a really bad carnival funhouse.
Yeah. A lot of them are like that, unfortunately.
Most of them are like that.
Mm-hmm. But the ones that allow you to explore the hallucination world are kind of fun. I'm sure there's plenty in Psychonauts. Like, that game is a lot of nothing but trippiness.
That game is just one giant hallucination sequence.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
All right. Yeah, it's hard to...
I'm sorry.
I guess they haven't left a lasting impression. There was one in Batman Arkham City, I think it was, or Arkham Asylum.
Oh, actually, yeah, the first Batman Arkham game, which is the only good one.
I thought Arkham City was okay, but yeah.
I'm sure it's fine. I never played it.
I don't know, there were a lot of them.
The first Batman Arkham Asylum game has a whole hallucination sequence that, like...
With Scarecrow, I believe, which is one of the few sequences from that game that I still retain years later.
Spoiler alert. Okay, you've been warned. There's a whole point in there where, like, Joker shoots you in the head, and it's like... It gives you a thing that says, like, press the center something...
Mm-hmm.
to dodge his gunshot, and I straight up was like, the center, what? The what? What? And I was like looking at my controller trying to figure out what it meant, and then I realized that it was just part of the hallucination sequence.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you cannot dodge that, you will just die, and then that moves you on to the next part. That was actually really cool, because they, like, used the loading screen of the game to, like, break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
It was neat.
And to that extent, there was also, like, Psycho Mantis and Metal Gear Solid 1, and the entirety of Eternal Darkness, which is just one non-stop hallucination.
Yeah. Eternal Darkness has some fourth wall breaking ones. I think they reference the Psycho Mantis boss fight with the
yeah.
They have Hideo pop up on screen or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway. Oh no, they don't do that. I'm sorry. The
Metal Gear Solid 1 actually has Hideo pop up, yeah.
It says Hideo at the top of the screen instead of video.
Mm-hmm. There are a couple of games out there that kind of blur the line between hallucination and simulation. Basically, a lot of horror games do that.
Hey guys, it's been around 5 years since the Mass Effect trilogy playthrough. After all this time, is Zach willing to admit he cheated on the suicide mission?
JK says,
in all seriousness, have you guys played the Legendary Edition and have your opinions changed on the trilogy? First of all, I did not cheat on the suicide mission. It's pretty... When you get to the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2, it's pretty blatantly obvious who you are supposed to put doing what.
I suppose there were a couple different ways you could look at it, but the way you looked at it made sense.
Very blatantly odd, because, like, Jacob is like, no, let me do it. And it's like, Jacob, you are a shit biotic. Why the hell would I have you be the one doing this thing? Because I want to do it. I don't give a shit, Jacob. You're a terrible biotic.
Well, when I played the game, I was still trying to get everyone's loyalty, even at the final mission, that video game mindset of gotta collect them all. And I still hadn't had Zaid's loyalty mission or Miranda's. So I put... I believe Miranda in charge once or twice, which got a couple people killed when she wasn't available, when she wasn't loyal and stuff like that. So it's easy to understand how people can make a mistake. And people might think Samara's a strong, bold leader, even if she hasn't been with the squad. So, you know, but no, I don't think Zach cheated. I'm pretty sure he did.
I didn't. How would I have cheated?
to look up the formula. Forget about it. Again, that was just a joke. Have you played the Legendary Edition? I have indeed played the Legendary Edition. I have done a full playthrough of the Mass Effect trilogy with the Legendary Edition. I had a bunch of mods installed. Have my opinions changed? No, I've thought it's been great for a long time, and my opinion on that continues to be my opinion. It's one of the best video game trilogies that's out there.
I have not played the Legendary Edition.
Well, you've played the original editions. It's not that much different.
Okay, they didn't, like, make any major changes or anything?
They made some quality of life changes to Mass Effect 1. It's better, less infuriating. And of course, with mods installed, it's better in so many other aspects too. You know how you have female Turians only in the last DLC of the third game?
Oh, did they finally add female Turians to the rest of the games?
Well, fans have made mods that allow you to do things. Little things like that. Little quality of life improvements and little things that feel like, maybe they should have had these. You know, add female Batarians into the game so you can see what a female Batarian looks like.
The Batarians deserved it.
Yeah. Bug fixes and things like that.
I was talking about them adding female Batarians to the game, not the fact that you killed 300,000 of them in the second game.
Oh, yes. No, they definitely didn't deserve that. They got it free of charge.
They kind of deserve that.
Well, probably. I don't know. Have your opinions on the trilogy changed over the years since you haven't played? You haven't gone back to play it since then.
No.
Looking back on it, can you appreciate it more, or are you more critical of it? Nah, you just don't really think about it all that much. You enjoyed it. And you
Not really.
on.
It's fun. I played them. I thought they were fun.
It's not one of the games that you go back and revisit every year like other people like myself.
No. It's not a game. The Mass Effect trilogy for me is not a game like Resident Evil 4 that I can just play over and over and over again. It
was a great experience. You're happy you did it and you moved on.
Yeah, it was fun. I know my opinions on it haven't changed. I still think the ending to 3 sucks.
Yeah, that's why I always mod that out.
I still think the ending to 3 is terrible.
Oh shit! Going back to the previous. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
No, go ahead.
Someone brought up the dream sequence or the hallucination sequences, and the ones in Mass Effect 3 vanilla are awful, but I modded it, and I was like, all right, these modded dream sequences for Mass Effect 3 probably aren't going to be all that more impressive. They were good. They actually made them like really good. I didn't hate them as much.
Because, aren't the dream sequences in 3 are like you run through a grayscale landscape.
Chasing a child in a little...
You chase a child through a grayscale landscape.
And every once in a while, like, you see somebody dying and you hear voices whispering in your ear. That's all it really is. It's just
that's
slow running in the forest. It's bad. The base game is really bad. But the modded version actually changes the hallucination you have based on the things you've done. And mine actually felt custom to my character. It was great. It was a great fan-made hallucination. So yes, I guess my opinion on the Mass Effect trilogy hasn't changed, but my opinion on the modding community has improved because they have made some really amazing mods since then. Has there been any thought or interest in playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 when mod support becomes available? I have been enjoying the hell out of that game, and I think it could be entertaining to see you guys play.
I don't really have any interest in playing the game.
No?
Anyway.
Isn't it an RPG? You're not interested in it, though?
Yeah, not really.
Oh, okay. This year, I am trying to play a wider variety of games, and Kingdom Come Deliverance is one of those games that's on my radar, but it's also one of those games, like, I'll need to sink, like, I'll need to have, like, 80 hours dedicated to it, 40 to 80 hours or so. It's going to be one of those games that's going to take up a lot of time, and those are daunting. Like, I've got a lot of games that are on that list of things that I want to get to, but just require too much time, so I don't know if I'm going to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 vanilla. Mod support be damned. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get around to it. I hope I do, because I've heard good things. But, yeah, Zach's got little interest, and I've got little time.
I kind of want to try to re-answer that one, because I feel like I was incredibly dismissive of it. And I don't want to be like, no, I'm never going to play it. But, like, I really don't have any interest in playing.
Have you played a whole lot? Have you seen the bits and pieces of Kingdom Come Deliverance?
I've seen a good amount of it, and it never has really grabbed me. From what I've seen, it looks like a very good and very competent RPG. I'm just not particularly interested in playing it. Every single game isn't going to appeal to every single person, and that one just didn't really appeal to me.
Okay, fair enough. You've got your favorites. And I also have been looking into playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I hadn't even heard of the first game until I heard about the second one coming out. I have not touched it. I've not seen very much of it. I'd like to play the vanilla game at some point in the future because I'm trying to play a wider variety of games. It's just one of those games that seems like it would take up a lot of time, and I got to set aside 40 to 60 hours if I want to really dig into it. And then, like, it's always a deterrent. I want to play it, but it seems to be so good that I'll get sucked into it, so I got to wait to play it. And then I just end up waiting months and months, and now it's on my backlog behind a bunch of other games that would probably take 40 to 60 hours to play.
And then he plays 40 to 60 hours of Crypt of the Necrodancer.
It does seem to have, yeah. Once I find a game, again, I'll either bounce off it in the first 4 hours, or I'll get so engrossed in it that it becomes my life for a month. I'm trying to tamp down on that. But yes, I hope to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 sometime in the future.
At some point, I'm just going to duct tape you into the chair and then just force you to play the Yakuza games.
Oh, it's another great series I got to try at least one game of. Heard so many good things about the Persona series. And
no, play Yakuza. Don't play Persona. Play Yakuza.
I gotta give.
You'll like Yakuza better. I promise you, you will like Yakuza better.
I gotta give Cyberpunk another try.
No, you don't. You don't need to give Cyberpunk another try. That's. Don't worry about that one.
Outer Worlds 2 is coming out. It might be good. Anyway,
Yakuza has exactly the level of humor that you will absolutely love. If you play Persona, you are probably going to be bored to tears unless you really, really like playing dating sims.
I mean, I do. It depends on the kind of dating sim. I played Fire Emblem 3 Hearts, which is half dating sim, so yeah.
See, that's more of a visual novel. When I say dating sim, I mean, like, you have to level up things in order to improve your math skill so that the school nurse will bone you.
Yeah. Hey, I played those old school 1990s, early 2000s Flash games like that. I'm no stranger to that.
No, it's a different Flash game you're thinking of.
Maybe. Have either of you checked out Monster Hunter Wilds? If not, I highly recommend it. I've heard good things.
The last Monster Hunter game I played was...
There's a lot of them, actually.
The last Monster Hunter game I played was Monster Hunter World, which was, I don't know how many entries ago, two entries ago. Mm-hmm. It was in the 20 teens.
Okay.
When that came out. I can't remember when. I played a good amount of it, and the review I left on Steam was very simple. It was, I am too stupid to play this game.
Oh, okay.
And and I have not bothered to play Monster Hunter since then.
Why do you feel that way? Is it a complex game?
It is. I feel like for me, there's too much crap going on.
Is it like with Witcher 3 where you gotta learn each monster's weaknesses and then coat your blade with a specific poison?
No, you have to learn how each weapon works, and each weapon has specific combos on how it works. So not only are you learning how each weapon works in the game, but you also have to learn how the combos for that weapon work, and then you also have to make sure that if it's a bladed weapon, that it's getting sharpened in between engagements, and you got to get like all the stuff that's around there, and then also I don't really want to hurt the monsters because the monsters are kind of fun and I like them, and I would prefer just to take pictures of them.
Okay, so you want to play Pokemon Snap instead?
But the monsters are also kind of assholes, and they're trying to like destroy the entire planet for some reason.
So it's like a fighting game. You gotta learn different combo and button combinations to capture the monsters with or attack them with your weapon.
That was the experience I had, was trying to learn different button combos. And then like, because I forget what it was. I think I was using the heavy bow gun in the previous monster game because of course I'm using a gun. I think I was using a heavy bow gun, and it's like you have to get different ammo types. So like you're in the middle of a fight, and I gotta remember what the ammo type I just loaded into the gun was. And there's like 20 different ammo types, and they all have different effects. And I was just like, I just want to shoot at the monster with gun. Why can I not just shoot at monster with gun? Why can I not just shoot at monster with gun? And then you get back to the base, and then there's the little tiny pig, and the little pig is really cute. And you gotta like feed the little pig, and then you gotta carry the little pig around, and then he starts squinking when you get close to something. And then he'll like pick the thing up for you. And it's too much stuff going on for my brain.
Very busy.
It's too much stuff going on for me to handle.
Gotcha. Some sensory overload, possibly.
I have not played Monster Hunter Wilds. I have no intention of playing Monster Hunter Wilds. I watched some people play it, and I was like, this is too overwhelming for me. Thanks.
Fair enough. I've heard personally a lot of good things about the Monster Hunter series. I haven't set aside time to get into it. I'm not sure exactly where I would start. I'm kind of surprised to hear that there's a Monster Hunter Wilds and a Monster Hunter Worlds. Like he didn't learn anything from the Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds problem.
They just attach another thing to the end of it.
Yeah.
For the name.
Understandable, but could you not have two words that are basically the same word with one or two different letters? Like try and differentiate them a bit more. Naming conventions aside.
In Japanese, they're probably not similar.
Well, I guess it's a criticism I have of the localization team, but hopefully I'll be able to check out Monster Hunter games in the future. I am interested. I don't know much about them. I am curious to see what all the hubbub is about.
Hey Mike and Zach, I've been watching your videos since the first Gun Rant came out back in ye olden days, and wanted to thank Zach for piquing my interest in firearms. I'm sorry. And getting me through some tough times. So thank you very much to the both of you. You are welcome. It's always nice to hear from people that our videos like help them out.
Yeah, I agree.
My question would be, if you had to choose any faction from any Fallout game that you both had to join, which would it be and why? I'm going to give the answer that I always give whenever people ask what I would do in the Fallout universe, which is be dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't last long. Yeah.
I would probably just be dead.
Well, if I were going to stick around to give a more satisfying answer, I suppose, I would probably stick with a faction that had the least chance to die and also wasn't awful, so followers of the apocalypse. Like, as long as you don't side with Caesar, the followers are probably going to be okay.
Yeah, followers are probably going to be alright.
Even if you do side with Caesar, as long as Legate Lannius isn't in charge, you do get to live. They're noble, they heal people, they don't start unjust wars, they're not being used as cannon fodder. They're just doing their best in a difficult situation, and it really isn't that what we're all already doing.
I would join the Republic of Dave, and then I would kill Dave and exile everyone else from the community, and then just live there by myself.
Take over Dave's house.
Yeah, I would just take over the Republic of Dave and exile everyone.
Would you rename it, or would you still be the lone survivor of the Republic of Dave?
It might still be the Republic of Dave.
Gotta
it would just be like,
legacy.
oh, I'm Zach. Yeah. Well, why is it called the Republic of Dave? Because you just mind your own business. That's why.
Because I killed Dave, and I also killed too many people who ask questions.
I probably would join Gunrunners.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Spend your days fixing guns. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I probably would try to join Gunrunners.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like nobody really fucks with Gunrunners. Mm-hmm. Just because they make guns for everybody. So
Yeah, and the Gunrunners and the Followers Outpost are right next to each other, so you and I can still hang out.
it's true.
Do you guys plan on playing Enderall Forgotten Stories? It's a good game that uses the Skyrim engine, and I think you guys might enjoy it.
I have heard of that. I'm pretty sure it's a mod of it. It started out as a Skyrim mod, and they basically turned it into its own thing. So it's still.
I would think you're thinking of Forgotten Cities, although maybe
they're the same thing.
The Skyrim mod might be called Forgotten Stories.
I'm pretty sure they're the same thing. It was originally called. I'm gonna look it up really quick.
Okay, just to confirm.
Enderall the Forgotten. Well, okay, so now it's called Enderall the Shards of Order.
It's a different thing, I'm guessing.
Enderall the Shards of Order. No, it's the same thing. It just has a different name because originally it was, I think, Enderall the Forgotten Stories.
Mm-hmm.
What is Enderall Shards of Order then?
I suppose to answer the question, our main priority is to finish our Skyrim series playthrough of the vanilla game. That's kind of higher on the priority list. Eventually, I definitely would like to check out Skyrim mods and stories based on Skyrim mods, like Forgotten City and possibly Forgotten Stories. I don't know if they're the same thing or not. It doesn't matter.
They're the same thing. I don't know what one you're thinking of. I couldn't see anything about Enderall Forgotten Cities.
No, it wouldn't. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We want to finish Skyrim before we check out the mods, I'd say.
Do we? Because we haven't played Skyrim in like 2 years.
Well, I want to finish Skyrim with you. I know there are other people that are eager to see us finish that. But yeah, that's a higher priority than playing some of these Skyrim mods. Again, there's so many things out there to enjoy, so many games to play, and so many, for example, Fallout mods, that Skyrim mods are kind of even lower on the priority list. If I had infinite time, absolutely, but I don't. Have either of you guys heard or played the Evil Within games? I have a lot of inspiration from Resident Evil. Yes, I have played the first Evil Within game. There was a small video on the main channel. It was a few years back, actually. Played like the first 2 or 4 hours of the game on stream, I think. Had a decent enough time, but wasn't enticed to keep playing it. Didn't check out the sequel. What about you?
I have played a little bit of the first one. My wife really likes those games, or she really liked the Evil Within games. They're the same director as Resident Evil 1 and 4. I can't remember what other ones he directed.
Okay.
It's the same director. That's why they're very similar. The problem I have with the first Evil Within game is that why does this dude have the stamina of a 87-year-old man?
Just can't run.
You can run for like literally 3 steps and then he's just out of breath. It is brutal.
What are you, me?
Yeah, I need to play through him at some point.
Put him on the list. List of games to get around to.
But to be completely honest, I'd rather just play Resident Evil 4 for like the 120th time.
Yeah, that's the thing about video games. There's so many great ones out there, but it's hard to discover them because video games are supposed to be enjoyable, and it's always really enjoyable to go back and enjoy your comfort food.
The little bit I played of the first one, I was getting really frustrated with just you having to burn literally every single corpse and having to just like never having any items. It's like, I know it's a survival horror game. That's the point. Is that you're like always low on items, but like holy shit.
That's one of the reasons I don't go back and play the old Resident Evil games. Anything before 4 where you had excruciating limited amount of carrying capacity, especially Resident Evil 1. Playing as Chris, you got 6 inventory slots, 1 for the gun, 1 for the ammo, and 4 for keys.
There is no reason to play Resident Evil 1 as Chris.
No.
There is literally no good reason to play Resident Evil 1 as Chris.
Even when I played as Jill, like the inventory was so restrictive that I just did the infinite incendiary grenade launcher glitch and just ran around with that.
There's some really cool stuff in. I've seen a decent amount of the Evil Within games. There's some really cool stuff in the first one. There's some really cool stuff in the second one. I think the second one is more fun to play. Like the controls feel better in the second one. You can actually sprint for a decent distance. The problem I run into with those is I don't want to play the second one until I've played the first one, and I don't really want to play the first one.
So are the plots tied together? Do you have to play the first one to play the second one?
You don't have to play the first one to have played the second one, but it definitely helps.
You could probably watch like a synopsis on YouTube or something, like the entire plot of the first Evil Within game in 5 minutes or less.
Also, there's too many turret sequences.
Oh, yeah.
There's too many turret sequences in the first one. Yeah, so it has the mandatory turret sequence that every game from the 2000s has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Zach, just gotta say, thank you for feeding into my guntism when I was young and squishy, as I have made being a firearm geek a permanent part of my personality. I'm sorry, don't put that evil on me. I didn't do that to you.
Please have other parts of your personality.
You need to have other parts of your personality. You do. You like...
Future you will appreciate you socializing.
Get interested in something else. Get guitars, garbage trucks, trains.
Basket weaving.
Something else.
Go to the roller derby.
Have you guys ever considered checking out VR? I have a couple videos where I played VR on my channel and on my VOD channel. Every time I try to use VR, I get motion sick. Oof. And it's not like... Sometimes it's instantaneous. Sometimes it takes a while to get there. But every single time I've used VR, it makes me motion sick.
It's unfortunate. I know that affects some people.
I keep trying to find games that maybe don't make me as motion sick. Because even when I did like Job Simulator, which is basically the most low stakes VR game that you can possibly do, because you don't need to move.
You're just standing in one spot.
You just stand in one spot. Even when I did that, after like 30 minutes of it, I started getting motion sick. And it's very difficult for me to be like, yes, I'm going to continue spending money on these VR games that I know are going to make me sick.
Yeah.
And also, like, the VR headset I have is the Meta Quest 3. And you have to jump through so many hoops to get that hooked up to your computer.
Yeah.
I have to open a program on the Meta Quest 3. I have to plug it directly into my computer because it will go over Wi-Fi. But the problem is the bitrate gets so bad over Wi-Fi that it goes in and out that the moment it turns like slightly pixely, I'm immediately made sick.
Yeah.
So it has to be plugged directly into my computer, which means I got a huge cord dangling off of my back. And then I have to open an app on the MetaQuest 3. I have to open a program on my computer. And then I have to open Steam Link on my computer. And I can't just open all three of those and then plug the thing in. I have to plug it in, open the thing on the MetaQuest 3, wait for it to finish booting up, open the thing on my computer, wait for that to finish booting up, open Steam Link opens, and then it tells me that it's running in the wrong resolution, so I have to close Steam Link, and then reopen Steam Link, and then I have to open the game.
Yikes, a lot of technical
problems.
So
it takes me, and I'm not joking, it takes me 20 minutes just to get into the game on the MetaQuest 3. And I know that a lot of those problems could be solved by buying the Valve Index. I don't want to spend $1,000 on a VR headset when it makes me motion sick.
Fair enough.
So that's the problem I run into with VR is am I literally going to spend $1,000 on this thing that will probably make me motion sick, and I have no promise that it will not?
Yeah. Myself, I have played a fair amount of VR. I used my brother's headset and played a lot of Beat Saber, had a lot of fun with that. It's a really cool technology. I didn't do much with it beyond playing Beat Saber, but I had a blast with that game. I would like to see the technology keep improving because, yeah, we didn't have the corded set because we weren't hooked up to a computer or anything, and that makes it easier.
Because you can't just run games on the Meta, on like because I think he has a Meta Quest. I just don't remember which one it is.
I don't remember which one it was either, but it was decent. It was fine. I didn't get a headache myself. Well, I did after playing it nonstop for 4 hours, playing Beat Saber like crazy. It was, again, a fun game. But, yeah, I didn't play a whole lot beyond that. Didn't have a whole lot enticing me to play more into it either.
You can run games on it. It will just run games on its own. I just don't want to buy games on the MetaQuest store because the same games that are on there are not available, or there are games that are on Steam that aren't available on the MetaQuest store. And also, I don't want to give them any more of my information that they are. I don't want to give them my credit card info.
Right. When I was playing VR, when I was playing Beat Saber, that was before Facebook had bought it, I believe, and forced you to upload all your data and all that nonsense, get intertwined with that. So even when I had access to playing Beat Saber afterward, I just didn't. I had fun with it for a couple of months, and then I moved on with my life because it's too much of a hassle.
Well, maybe when I've eventually had enough of getting horribly sick because of VR, I will just give you my MetaQuest headset.
There you go. Hey, I can have some fun with that, hopefully. Hey guys, I've been watching the channel since around 2018 and have been a fan ever since. I wanted to ask Zach, if a big Hollywood film company came up to you and requested to make a movie about your life, who would you want to direct or star as you, and what stories would you want told on the big screen? Also, who would Mike be? Thanks for all the laughs. Well, you get to be Jack Black because Jack Black is in everything.
Oh, God.
And I will be David Spade. and it'll be a fun little comedy with Jack Black and David Spade.
Ugh.
What are you groaning for?
Why did they put Jack Black and everything? No, if they were doing a Hollywood movie about my life, I would question as to why they would think that would be something that they needed to do.
In this hypothetical scenario, you had a story worth telling.
In this hypothetical scenario, I'm played by Adam Driver, and Mike is played by Pete Davidson.
I don't know who remind me who those two people are. I guess, wait, maybe I haven't seen the movies that they're in, so I wouldn't even know who they are. Forget I asked that question.
Adam Driver is in the most recent Star Wars movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's in the most recent Star Wars movies.
I haven't seen those. I've only watched the prequels.
Adam Driver actually looks kind of like me.
Okay.
Or I kind of look like Adam Driver.
I think I have actually seen
Pete Davidson just looks like you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Pete Davidson just looks like you.
All right.
There is one photo that like it pops up when I typed it in that it's just like, oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah, I see the similarities.
Yeah, Pete Davidson just looks like Mike. So yeah, Mike would be played by Pete Davidson. I would want who would direct it? I mean, not possible because he has unfortunately passed on, but David Lynch.
Ooh, you brought back David Lynch. Nice.
Yeah, we brought back David Lynch to direct the movie about me, or Wes Anderson, just because I like how his movies look.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know what stories I would want told on the big screen. I don't have any good stories.
If I have good stories in the future, in the future, I'm sure I'll have some great stories. So they can tell those stories.
I don't have anything that's worth being made into a movie over.
But that might change if they offer us lots of money. Then they can make a story about that time
then I can just make up stuff.
That time you had that story about you stubbed your toe. Yep, that'll be a story that you get paid for.
Just if David Lynch is directing it, just make the entire movie is about the time I had dysentery when I was in Iraq. That's the entire movie is just that.
It's like that movie about being lost at sea. That just no camera angles, just one guy lost at sea for like 1 hour, 2 hours. The movie just takes place in that one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
What are some places that are just tourist traps, and what are places where photos don't do it justice?
Probably the biggest named one. If you could recognize the name of a national park or a place, then that's probably a touristy area. I don't know if I'd say it's a tourist trap, but everybody knows about the Grand Canyon because it's the Grand Canyon, but there are a lot of other areas around the Grand Canyon that are just as beautiful, so you don't have to specifically go to the one tourist destination designated at the Grand Canyon.
There's two major viewing points for the Grand Canyon, and I don't remember what the difference is, what the two different ones are. I feel like there's a north one and a south one are the two major, they're like the national park's Grand Canyon viewing areas. One of them is better than the other one. I don't remember which one it is. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think it's maybe the north one is the better one. And I wouldn't say that the Grand Canyon is a tourist trap because it's one of those places that it's like you think, oh, it's not, it's whatever, it's a big canyon. And then you get out there, it's like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's also another answer to that second part of that question. Photo does not do it justice. You go out there and you're struck by the majesty of it all.
Bryce Canyon is really nice because you can actually go walk down in it and you don't need to pay someone to cart you down there on a donkey. Mm-hmm. There are just walking paths that go down into Bryce Canyon, so that's something. And then you're down inside these big sandstone caverns. It's really, really something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say Niagara Falls is a tourist trap, but it's just it's a big waterfall.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the biggest, yep.
It's a really big waterfall. And it's very impressive to see it, but also it's a really big waterfall.
Mm.
And then you got to pay $40 for parking, and then you got to find some place to get food while you're out there, and everything is expensive. And if you go across the border crossing, it's just a massive pain in the ass. And then when you go across the border crossing, you accidentally drop your wife's ID card, and then it falls down in between the seat.
Oh, jeez.
And then you spend literally 5 minutes trying to find it because it somehow fell in literally the one spot that you can't get your hand into. And then the border crossing guard is a massive asshole to you because you wasted his time, which understandable. I did kind of just waste his time, but then he's got this look about him I was totally going to be special forces. But they wouldn't let me go because I have severe anger issues. So instead, they put me at this border crossing, and I'm really mad now. What's that's in your pocket? It looks like it's a knife. Is it a knife? Well, you're going to have to go off into the pull-off area, and then we're going to rip apart your entire car.
So this is the story that gets made into the Hollywood film.
Potentially, yeah. I feel like places that are tourist traps are like cities. If you see advertisements for like visit Austin or just like any city where they have like the made by the tourism board of whatever the city is, it's just a tourist trap.
It could be, yeah.
Cities are rarely ever actually impressive.
Yeah.
Going to a place for the city, I feel like, is rarely ever impressive. It's more impressive like going to Yellowstone and seeing all the fucking geysers and getting your car stopped on the road for 30 minutes because there's a buffalo that's there. And then you get to look at the buffalo and don't mess with it though. Don't try to just like drive past it or get it out of the way. It's like, that's actually really cool. And that's really impressive. But I've never gone to a city and been like, wow, this was great. The photos totally didn't do it justice. It's only been like when I go to places that are like that.
I would make an exception for places that have really tall skyscrapers, because sometimes that can be very stunning, the amount of craftsmanship that goes into those. Like,
yeah,
they're very impressive to be towered over by them.
If you're a fan of like architecture, then then it's going to be something different for you, because then now you want to go there and see the big tall buildings.
But I would generally agree with you that nature is where photos do not do them justice, because it's not just about the visual aspect. Sometimes it's just a breath of fresh air. Just go out there. Don't just look at photos of these beautiful locations. Go there and enjoy them. Listen to the sounds. Enjoy the taste of the fresh air, because that's underrated. Like, you get out there and that can really rejuvenate you.
Thinking back to the Arkham story, how would you have felt if you got the award but you never got the Airborne Challenge coin?
You get Airborne Challenge coins for getting an award?
I got 2 challenge coins the entire time that I was in the Army. One was the one that everyone got when we were about to leave Iraq. And then the other one was one I got from the 509th Infantry Battalion, which is the OPFOR regiment.
Right.
At Fort Polk. And I got that one for helping fix a bunch of their M4s before field rotation. And then that was the one that I joked that I got for aiding and abetting the enemy.
Right.
How would I feel if I'd gotten the Arcom and then never got the challenge coin? I don't know, because I wouldn't have even thought that getting the challenge coin was something that I could have gotten. So
yeah,
I wouldn't have necessarily thought anything. I didn't do anything I did in the Army with the expectation of getting an award. So when I did the annual weapons gauging for basically the entire infantry battalion in like a 24-hour time period, I didn't do that with the expectation of, I'm going to get an ARCOM for this, or I hope I get an ARCOM for this. I did that with, this is what needs to be done, and I am the only person that can make sure that this gets done. So it has to be done. I did it with the thought process of, this needs to get done, so do it. It would have been nice to have gotten like some kind of recognition for it, but it is what it is. I did it because I had to do it, because that was my job. I was expected to do it.
I think the sentiment being asked here is, would you trade in that Airborne Challenge coin for an ARCOM award?
No, fuck no, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I have never seen anybody else with the 509th challenge coin. And I'm not saying that I got like the rarest award ever, but like I've never seen anyone else with that coin. And I definitely haven't heard of people outside of the 509th Infantry Battalion getting that coin.
The Airborne Challenge coin probably would mean more to you. Again, this is a hypothetical. We're in a scenario where you had the option of getting the ARCOM award. But that Airborne Challenge coin probably means a lot more because it was voluntarily given to you by someone who chose to give it to you, and not something that you were given because of a process.
I would say the amount of work I did to have gotten a theoretical ARCOM or have gotten the 509 Challenge coin, the amount of work I did was about the same. But the 509th Challenge coin I have is the only, I would go so far as to say it's the only award I got while I was in the Army that I actually give a shit about.
Yeah, you don't even really care about the promotions you got, you've told me.
Basically everything else I got was just like fucking whatever. I don't care. I got a humanitarian service award because I helped clean up a bunch of branches after Hurricane Katrina. And it's just like, I was told to do that. I was told to put the humanitarian service award ribbon on my uniform. And it's like, I didn't do anything. I stood in a field and trucks would show up and I would climb onto the back of the truck and unload like 1.5 tons of dead trees from the back of the truck to a giant pile where they set it on fire later. That was what I got the Humanitarian Service Award for. Wow. So yeah, the 509 Challenge Coin is really the only like award I got while I was in the Army that means anything.
Sure. I don't want to sound too dismissive, though. I think the Humanitarian Award, it might not feel deserved because you were just doing some, manual labor. But I think people being involved in that kind of process is commendable. I think that we need more of that.
I think it would be commendable if one, I had volunteered to do that, which I hadn't. It was what I was told to do, and two, if we had been doing it by New Orleans.
So that first,
where all of the disaster relief was from,
okay.
Or where all the disaster relief was needed, not at Fort Polk.
Okay, that second part I can't really justify. That first part though, you volunteered to join the military, and they told you to do some humanitarian stuff, so you get the humanitarian award. Okay, that's how it goes. But if you were just kind of picking up branches at the base, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some people that I knew that were in a different unit that did actually go to New Orleans. To do disaster relief, and they said they stayed in a tent and drank bottled water, and they were there for a week, and they did nothing, and then came back home, or came back to Fort Polk, and then they gave them a Humanitarian Service Medal because the National Guard was doing everything. So it was just like we don't need the Army to do stuff because the National Guard is doing stuff.
Bit mismanaged, but again, it wasn't a thing people were really planning for.
Yeah.
I know you guys aren't really gun tubers, but what do y'all think about the gun tubing community? Do you have any favorite creators?
I don't like the term gun tuber.
No?
I don't like the term gun tuber.
Why not?
Because I just, for me personally, I don't think of myself as a gun tuber. I make videos and sometimes they're about guns. I don't really watch many gun tubers.
We'll just say Forgotten Weapons because I think we both watched that channel.
I watched Forgotten Weapons, 9-hole reviews, Hop, Brass Facts. Those are basically the ones that I like primarily watch, but I don't watch a lot of gun tubers.
Yeah, aside from Forgotten Weapons, there's also Ahoy. I like the presentation of the Ahoy videos.
I wouldn't consider him a gun tuber, but he does a lot of videos on
Yeah, but you also don't think gun tuber is a real term anyway, so...
I wouldn't say that I don't think it's a real term, I just don't like it.
Yeah, it probably fits under the umbrella. The AK-47. Reliable,
because he kind of does more like history of...
And showing out the weapon in the various video games. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see the different video game implementations of the same firearm.
Zach, you mentioned your writing before. Aside from writing for a gun magazine, do you have any genres you like to write? Also, do you have an email or anything where people can send you fan mail? Most of the writing that I do now is like script writing. When I used to do more writing, it was mostly fictional. Mm-hmm. I was writing some fantasy stories, but it was a genre of fantasy that I had termed lowbrow fantasy instead of low fantasy because it's fantasy, but it's very silly, weird fantasy.
Yeah.
They go hang out at Buffalo Wyvern Wings and watch the scrying orbs that are showing the jousting matches. Yeah. Like that level of fantasy. So it's really stupid, weird fantasy.
Yeah.
I would just kind of write whatever genre I felt like writing. So no, I didn't have a specific genre that I would write in. Mostly it was just like weird kind of crappy fictional stories.
You say you do some script writing these days. I'm assuming you're not talking about coding or anything.
No, I'm talking about writing scripts for videos that I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's most of the writing I do now is like
Same.
writing scripts for videos.
Yeah.
I have a business email on my YouTube channel that
there you go.
You can
send fan mail and
stuff
emails.
to. I don't check it regularly enough, so if I don't reply, I'm sorry.
It's like a once a month thing.
I don't check it regularly enough. I need to like keep up with that.
It's tough to be on top of it all. As for me, yep, I've got an email as well. It's listed on the YouTube channel, so you can just go into the info on the YouTube channel and you'll find the email address there if you want to send me anything. Do you two have a favorite fantasy series that you really like? Could be games, movies, shows, anything, really.
Dark Souls.
Is Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 all part of the same universe, same series and everything?
Yes. I consider 2 to be its own thing.
What about Bloodborne?
Bloodborne is its own thing. It doesn't exist in the same universe.
Right, but wouldn't you prefer that over the Dark Souls?
Well, yeah, but I don't consider Bloodborne fantasy.
Oh, okay. You also don't consider it The series, because there's only one entry.
Yeah,
probably.
there's only one game.
I didn't realize those two were different
Dark Souls.
genres.
Dark Souls is Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Souls 2 is related to Dark Souls, but like not.
I didn't want to get into the minutia. I apologize for bringing up Dark Souls 2.
And then Dark Souls 3 is basically just a love letter to Dark Souls.
Okay.
And I like Lord of the Rings. That's probably my favorite fantasy series.
Yeah, it's good.
Other than that, no, I don't really have any other fantasy series that I'm not a huge fan of fantasy stuff. I don't go out of my way to consume every single fantasy thing that I can find.
My favorite fantasy series always incorporate the future or space travel because that leads to a lot of open possibilities.
That's science fiction, though.
Science fiction, it's a type of fantasy, isn't it? Or are you specifically talking about medieval elves and stuff?
I think when they say fantasy, they're referring specifically to what would be considered traditional fantasy. I do not consider science fiction to be fantasy.
Okay, so not just any general fiction, more of a specific fantasy style kind of thing. Okay. So I guess Dragon Age for me would be the closest thing. Although I don't really like anything beyond the first entry in the series all that much. I like the world building that they did, but beyond that, not really. Yeah, if I'm limited to fantasy in that regard, then that's probably where it ends. But I would argue that, for instance, Mass Effect and Futurama are a type of fantasy. Maybe not in the dragons and the dungeons traditional sense, but
I would argue that they are not fantasy because they are science fiction.
Okay, if science fiction isn't fantasy, then I guess they don't count. But if they do, I would say Mass Effect.
They're science fiction.
Science
yes,
fiction.
they're both part of the branch of fiction, but one is fantasy and one is science fiction.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm just not really well versed when it comes to fantasy. So
It'd be
much so
what's your favorite fantasy movie? Oh, Star Wars.
Yeah, kind of. I guess that just kind of speaks to my lack of knowledge of the fantasy genre in general.
What's your favorite superhero movie? John Wick.
In the sense that I don't understand what the genre even is.
Yeah, my favorite fantasy series is probably I hesitate to say Dark Souls because I basically just like the first one. I don't like Dark Souls 2. And I like Dark Souls 3, but not as much as Dark Souls. Yeah, Dark Souls and Lord of the Rings.
All right. Hi, Mike and Zach, longtime fan. I'm 22 and recently divorced and was wondering what advice you'd have for getting back on the horse. I struggle at meeting new people due to being awkward, small talk, and the 11-hour shifts at work. Ouch. Any advice would be appreciated. Yep, that's too serious. Then is there any plan to return to the Mike Byrne vlogs? No, the YouTube channel Mike Byrne vlogs is inactive and will remain so because I forgot the password to log in.
Do you know that you can have them reset the password?
It's too much effort. I don't really care too much.
Okay, so if we're getting back on the horse, what you want to do is it depends on which side of the horse you start on, but we're going to start on the left side of the horse. So you put your left foot into the stirrup, and then what you want to do is you grab onto the horn and lift yourself up, and then swing your right leg over onto the saddle. There you go.
It's good. You got to take that advice. I'm not a cowboy, so I wouldn't know, but I'll take that advice.
I have no advice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the thing is that you're not even from the same generation as us. You're 22 years old, so dating has changed so frequently that the stuff that didn't work for us is also going to doubly not work for you.
The best advice I can give is that if you treat the person that you are looking to romance as an actual human being and not the target of I'm going to romance this person, generally they're more receptive to that.
That's good advice.
This might be revolutionary to a few people, but women are people. Also, if you do something stupid in front of people, it doesn't matter because you're probably never going to see those people again. So, who cares?
Yeah. Good general advice is to focus on improving yourself and don't go out there with the intention of finding the one. Just go out there, be a normal person, treat people with respect, and eventually you'll forge new friendships, and some of those friendships could go beyond simple friendships to something more intimate. That's the best I got for you. Also, don't pay for Tinder Black. It's a waste of money.
I don't even think Tinder exists anymore.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it's under a different name, a whole umbrella corporation that buys every single dating app. But none of it works. It's not designed to set you up for life. It's designed to suck money out of your wallet.
Or just stop trying and then just try to be okay with being by yourself. And then maybe eventually you'll meet somebody.
Yeah. If you're spending so much time at work, maybe one of your coworkers is someone you could talk to.
No, don't date your coworkers.
No, if you're working 11-hour shifts, then you...
Or do. I don't know, man.
Go ahead and date your coworkers. I'm not your dad.
Can you both think of a small moment recently when something unusually lucky happened to you? Hitting all green lights or finding a $5 bill on the sidewalk? No, nothing lucky ever happens to me.
It's a difficult question to answer, because if it's that small, then...
Oh, wait, no, I thought of something. I was flossing the other night and one of my fillings came out.
So lucky.
Yeah.
It's the bad kind of luck. It's bad lucky.
It's great because, I had way too much money and I didn't know what to spend it on, and now I get to pay for a bunch of dental work. So that's that one.
I can't really think of anything small lucky that's happened, though.
I found a shotgun shell holder that is made by a company that has been the company has been defunct, and the shotgun shell holder has been out of production for like 5 years.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
I found one of those.
All right. Oh, I washed my bed sheets and I realized that they were uncomfortable now. They were itchy and kind of annoying to sleep in. And I found out that a fabric shaver is a device that you can buy. So I bought one and I fabric shaved my bed sheets, and now they're really comfortable again because they pilled up a little bit.
Why don't you just buy new bed sheets?
Because I have bed sheets that I liked. Bed sheets are expensive. They're roughly the same price as the shaver, and now I've got the shaver for any other bed sheets that pill up too.
But you could just buy new bed sheets.
I could, but I've already got plenty of bed sheets. I actually need to take care of them now.
What's your favorite silly car, like mini trucks? Okay, so this is gonna go on for a while.
He's got a lot. Oh no.
Let's see. I got a list.
I'll just answer this question first, because my answer is gonna be significantly shorter. One of my first vehicles was a Geo Tracker. It was a short little, stubby little car. It looked barely bigger than a golf cart, barely more powerful, but it was a fun little silly car. It's a symbol of my youthful exuberance, and I really enjoy those.
The Geo Tracker was sold in the United States as the Geo Tracker, but in a lot of other places it was the Suzuki Samurai was the name of it.
That's a much cooler name.
It's a way cooler name. There was a, I know you had the convertible one.
Yeah.
I think technically they're all convertibles. But there was one that had like a hard steel body as opposed to a plastic body that you would put on the back of it.
Oh.
Those ones are neat.
Yeah, there were a couple Geo Trackers that had the plastic back cover, and
yeah, that was common for a lot of the US ones.
They're hard plastic, and there's also some that had the soft plastic that flapped around with the wind.
Yeah, I don't like the soft plastic one. They had metal ones too, but the metal ones were older ones. I feel like those were late 90s, 80s. Those were late 80s, early 90s ones were the hard metal ones.
All right.
I like small shitty cars a lot. I like them a lot, and I wish that I had the space to own every small shitty car.
And the disposable income to buy them all. I know you've said that a couple of times. Hey, I found this vehicle. I want to get it, but I can't. I want it, though.
I want a 1988 Mazda 323 GTX. I want anywhere from a 1970 to a 1972 Honda N600. That's basically the car from Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a Honda N600.
All right. It's like, I want this Honda because I saw it in Kirby, just like I wanted that firearm that I saw in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah, pretty much. Yugo GVX. I want a Yugo GVX really bad. They're absolute trash. They're terrible vehicles. The spare tire is in the engine compartment.
Right.
Why? Why?
That way the rubber will keep the engine warm once it catches fire.
On the topic of keeping things warm, why do Yugos have heated rear windows? To keep your hands warm while you push it. I love the Yugo GVX. It's such a piece of trash. I love it. I love that car. What else? I love the Suzuki SX4. I think those things are great. That's another really fun little weird car. I love JDM K cars. I want a K car very badly. There's one that's the Mitsubishi Delica, but it's not the Delica van that everyone thinks of. They made a flatbed truck version of the Mitsubishi Delica that is a turbo diesel, and I want one so badly. But
there's no room in your garage.
I would love to get a Lada Niva, even though that's an even bigger piece of shit. Generation 1 Nissan Stanza would be really cool. A Honda City or a Honda Today, either one of those would be amazing. Yeah, I like small, boxy, shitty cars. I love them. They're amazing.
Honda Today, why not Honda tomorrow?
Because that's not one. There's the Honda Today and then there's the Honda City. And I think the Today is a bigger version of the City. They both basically look the same. I forget which one it is, but one of those two is the car that is turned into a police car in You're Under Arrest. But she puts like Volk racing wheels on it and then like ups the horsepower to like 200 something, which is a lot of horsepower for a K car. That's like so much horsepower that if it was rear wheel drive, it would like torque the entire car in half. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
So you're not just about guns, you're also about small vehicles.
There are many things that my brain latches onto and will not let go of.
You could be a small vehicle tuber.
I wish I had the room for that. I wish I could just be like Garbage Time. I love that channel.
Oh yeah? You just talk about trucks all day, huh?
No, he talks about small shitty cars that he calls nuggets.
That's fun. Hey guys, I've got to ask, cats or dogs?
I like cats better.
Yeah, cats are nice. I used to fancy myself as a dog person, mostly because I didn't have a lot of experience with cats, but now that I've got 2 cats, and I can see how adorable and fun and loving they are, yeah, I'm probably more of a cat person. I still like dogs a lot, but they're a lot of maintenance, they're a bit grosser, cats are cleanlier, cats are just as fun, cats don't make as much of a mess. Yeah, they're great. Can't train them as much, but, you know, our cat Petey does play fetch, only with a small little plastic spring, but still. So, they're both great, but slight preference for cats.
If I was to get a dog, I would probably either get a Corgi or a Shiba Inu. I think Carolina dogs are neat.
Yeah, there are a couple of great breeds out there.
Is it better to put the ice in first or the drink first? What?
I think when you're pouring yourself a drink, they're asking, do you put the ice in first and then pour the drink, or do you put the liquid in first and then put the ice in?
I don't usually think about it that much.
I don't normally either. I think analytically putting the ice in first makes more sense, but I don't. I always pour the drink first and then go, oh, I need ice. And I put the ice in, then it splashes a little bit.
I feel like that usually happens to me. I think like, oh, I should probably add ice to this. I don't usually put ice in my drink. I don't even have the ice machine turned on at my house.
No.
So like I don't even like.
What if you need ice?
I mean, the water just stays in the refrigerator, so I don't ever need ice.
Okay. I guess that's true, but like, what about an ice pack? I guess you got ice packs at home that don't need the ice maker?
Yeah, I have like an ice pack I can use. I don't need to use. I've never really needed to use ice packs though.
Okay. I mean, congratulations on not having a sprained wrist, I suppose. I've had to use the ice pack a couple times. It's come in handy.
No. Usually if I get if I sprain anything, I just take a bunch of ibuprofen and then just fucking move on.
Okay, I mean,
I don't got time to put an ice pack on.
You can do both. It helps out. You double assist, and you can take the ice pack and the ibuprofen, and then the pain is not just managed; it's gone.
For me personally, I've never really felt like an ice pack is that helpful. It's mostly just this is painful. I don't like how cold this is.
You got to wrap the ice pack in a bit of cloth so it's not directly touching your arm.
Even so, I'm just like, this is why this hurts. I don't like doing this. Just get rid of it.
Okay, the ice pack has helped me in the past, but I guess it's all moot since you have ice packs.
I'm not saying don't use ice packs. I'm just saying they've never really been particularly helpful for me.
Okay. And you don't have to fill up a cooler with ice or anything, so it's not
I have like a couple ice packs that I can use.
Yeah, you can just shove the ice packs in the cooler. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't use ice for anything. I guess, yeah, I would prefer to put the ice in first and then pour the drink over the ice so that it doesn't splash. But anytime I have thought, I would really like ice in this drink, I have only thought of that after I've taken a sip of it and realized that it wasn't cold enough.
And then realized that, I don't have any ice because the ice maker is turned off, apparently.
And then the problem is, like, if there's ice in the drink, when you get to the bottom of it, you try to drink and all the ice sits at the bottom, and then it just sits there and it goes, wait, now! And then it all comes down the end of the glass into the face. Yep. And so, yeah, that's... And I could use a straw, yeah, but the problem with using a straw is, what if you forget the straw's there and you go to take a drink and then the straw goes into your nose and now you have to get 12 stitches inside your nose?
You're drinking very aggressively if you need that.
That happened to somebody I know. That happened to someone I know. Granted, they were drunk. And they went to take a drink and it had the 2 little tiny mixing straws in there and one went into their nose and they had to get 5 stitches inside their nose.
Was that straw made of concertina wire?
No, just you're drunk and you go to take a drink and it goes into your nose.
Jeez. I hate to be the doctor trying to do those stitches. That must be a pain. Get the needlework all the way up in there. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know how they managed to do that, but...
And the last question is, Mike, can you sell me on the benefits and superiority of the Pancor Jackhammer? Well, I cannot, because I don't know that much about that particular firearm. Also, it's not a real firearm, it's just fictional, in the sense that it's never been mass-produced. It's a fun-looking weapon, it's why it's in a lot of fictional things. It's a fun fantasy weapon in the same vein as a gunblade. It's stupid, but it's fun to pretend it's not stupid. So, yay, Pancor Jackhammer. Thanks for asking the question. Zach, do you have any input?
The only reason that it's in a bunch of stuff is because basically the dude that had owned it at the time was like, here, put it in this movie. Here, use it for this video game. Here, use it for this thing. And then I think he sold it to somebody else, and then now that person is like, no one can look at it, and nobody can touch it. So
much in the same way that you enjoy the firearms and the vehicles in various video games, you can enjoy the Pancor Jackhammer because it is also in a bunch of video games.
Guys, I promise you, the Pancor Jackhammer really does not upset me, like, at all, and that I don't think about it, like, ever.
No.
I really don't. Until someone brings it up, and then the reason I get frustrated is because it's usually brought up in such a way as they're trying to rub it in my face to get me to dance. Dance, monkey, dance! Do the funny thing!
Yeah.
And it's like, that joke was 6 years ago?
It's been a while. Yep.
7 years? That joke was a long time ago.
Which is why this person respectfully asked me the question instead.
We've moved on from that joke.
If you ignore the fact that it doesn't really function the way it's supposed to because of some design flaws, it's not bad.
No, it's still pretty terrible.
If you ignore the parts of it that are terrible, it's not terrible, though.
Like, the guy that designed it was like, oh yeah, you can take the I guess it would be the chamber. You can take the chamber out of it and turn it into a landmine. Just like, are you 12? Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm going to take the only thing that holds the ammunition out of the gun and set it on the ground. I'm going to take my valuable ammunition and turn it into something that might go off, as opposed to just shooting it at the person that's in front of me.
Yeah, might not be the superior way to use that particular part of the firearm, but that is an option and therefore a benefit. You can do that. It's always good to have more options. So there you go.
Anyway, haha, funny joke. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for asking questions. It's been a delight to answer them this time. We appreciate that, and we appreciate your continued support. If you would like to contribute questions and also support us, you can support us on the Patreon at, any tier that you choose, but Buddy Chicken tier or higher will allow you to ask questions next month.
Okay, thanks so much, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye. Have a great April.